It is that time of year, everybody. The lights, the pyro, the grandest stage of them all, Wrestlemania 42 is finally here, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, and this card is it's absolutely stacked. So today we're going to break down the biggest matches, the most heated rivalries, and what all the experts are predicting for who walks out a winner.
And that quote from a recent hype package? Man, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just about who's the better athlete. For a lot of these superstars, the stakes are so much deeper, so intensely personal. We're talking pride, we're talking revenge, we're talking legacy.
And what a place for it to go down. As you've probably seen from fan vlogs all week, the entire city of Las Vegas is completely taken over. You've got WWE World at the convention center, superstars doing meet and greets everywhere. There's this electric energy you can't escape. You can just feel the buzz. It really is like the entire wrestling universe has landed in Vegas to see some history get made. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This isn't just some simple show. You've got this whole web of complex storylines, career paths, and a ton of behind-the-scenes strategy. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through all the noise and give you the absolute clearest picture of what you can expect when that bell finally rings.
All right, so let's start with the matches that aren't really about a championship belt. Nope. These are about pure, unfiltered hatred. These are the kinds of feuds where just winning the match, that's not going to be enough to settle the score. Not even close.
So it's super important to understand what this match type actually means. When WWE says a match is unsanctioned, they're basically telling everyone, the wrestlers included, that anything goes. The gloves are off. It is a stipulation they only break out for the most violent, most out-of-control rivalries, which, let's be honest, perfectly describes Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu. And this timeline just perfectly shows you how we ended up here. It all started with a mistake, right? An accidental title change, and from there, it just spiraled into absolute chaos. We're talking vicious brawls every single week spilling all over the arena, and that insane fall off the scaffolding. This was never going to end in a regular wrestling match. No way. The bad blood here runs way, way too deep.
Now here's what's really interesting. It's so rare to see this, but you have a total consensus from the experts. Every single one of them is picking Jacob Fatu. And honestly, the logic is pretty solid. Fatu gets the biggest, most massive win of his entire career on the grandest stage, and there's a really practical reason for it too. A brutal loss lets McIntyre get injured in the storyline, which gives him the time off he needs to go film that Highlander movie. It's kind of a win-win for everybody. Well, except maybe for Drew.
And that brings us right to our next grudge match. This one is a total clash of titans, and it is fueled by pure ego. Seth Rollins versus Gunther. I mean, this quote just captures it all, right? You've got two of the best wrestlers in the entire world, and each one is absolutely convinced that he is the superior one.
And their reasons for fighting could not be more different. Rollins is on this deeply personal crusade. He's back from an injury specifically to destroy the very group that he founded. Gunther, on the other hand, he's all business. He just sees Rollins as a problem for his associate Paul Heyman, and by taking out that problem, he gets a favor. And that little favor could have some massive championship implications for him down the road.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit, because you can't talk about modern WrestleMania without talking about the celebrity factor. And these aren't just little guest appearances anymore. Oh no, these are strategically designed moments meant to get people outside of the normal wrestling bubble talking.
And this is basically the playbook for going viral in 2024. You take a huge personality like IShowSpeed, you get him involved in a controversial finish with a megastar like LA Knight, then you team him up with another mainstream name in Logan Paul, and bam, you have got a recipe for a social media explosion. This whole match is built to create that one clip that everyone is going to be sharing the next day.
But here's the thing. Despite all that insane star power, the experts are, again, all on the same page. WrestleTalk, IWN Nerd, Mr. Santi Zap, they all predict that the seasoned pros, LA Knight and the Usos, are going to be the ones with their hands raised. In wrestling, the most satisfying story is almost always watching the arrogant outsiders finally get what's coming to them.
Okay, let's get to the biggest prizes in the entire game. These are the matches that are going to define the top of the company for the next year, and this is where the expert opinions really start to fly all over the place.
Just take a look at Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. This matchup really represents a huge choice for WWE. Do you give the dedicated fans what they really want and elevate this new dominant star in Obafemi?
Or, with the whole event on ESPN, do you book the familiar, mainstream monster in Brock Lesnar to impress all those casual sports fans who might be tuning in for the very first time?
And this table just lays out the debate perfectly. IW Nerd is arguing for the long-term play. A win for Obafemi builds a new main adventure you can rely on for years. But then Mr. Sante Zap makes a really compelling counterargument. With millions of new eyeballs watching on ESPN, the company might feel pressured to go with the real sports credibility of a former UFC champion like Lesnar. It's a total head versus heart dilemma.
And now, the main event. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. This is so much more than a title match. This is the end of a story that goes back 20 years, between a mentor and his protege. A story that took an incredibly dark turn, with Orton's bloody, vicious heel turn. That's wrestling speak for a good guy turning bad. And, of course, the very strange involvement of celebrity commentator Pat McAfee.
And yeah, you guessed it, the experts are completely torn on this one. I Have Nerd thinks Cody keeps the belt, arguing that the championship desperately needs a long, stable reign after changing hands so much lately. But then you've got both WrestleTalk and Mr. Sante Zap picking Orton, believing his momentum is just too hot to stop, and more importantly, that he has to win to continue that huge storyline with Pat McAfee. So what's it going to be? Long-term stability or the next big story?
So as we start to wrap things up, it is crystal clear that while some of these storylines seem to have a pretty clear ending, the most important matches of the entire night are anything but a sure thing.
I mean, this chart really says it all, doesn't it? We have a pretty clear consensus on that brutal unsanctioned match, but for the two biggest championship fights, the ones with absolutely everything on the line, it is a complete and total toss-up. The experts are split right down the middle.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. No matter who wins, no matter who loses, WrestleMania 42 is going to be a landscape-altering show. New champions are going to be crowned, bitter feuds will finally reach their violent end, and the entire direction of the company for the next year, it all gets set in stone right here.
So, the only question left is, who is going to seize their moment? When those lights are at their brightest in Las Vegas, who is going to rise to the occasion and etch their name into the history books forever? Well, we're all about to find out.